So this will be exercises 1 and 2 for lesson 11, and we are on pages 79 to 80. Okay, so let's look at what we've got here. Understanding a pay stub. We've got some exercises, meaning that we're going to practice some things. All right, so Jose is a shift manager at a small factory, receives the following paycheck every 2 weeks. So he works at Glassworks in Syracuse, New York, and his earnings are regular. His rate is salary. His gross pay is $1,500. So if you want to find out how much he makes in a year, you're going to take that $1,500 and he gets paid every 2 weeks. How many 2 weeks are there in a year? Well, 52 weeks in a year. And if he's getting paid every 2 weeks, we divide that by 2. So 52 divided by 2 is 26. So he makes $1,500. And if I multiply that by 26, then I find out how much Jose makes in a year. So let's do that. 1,500 times 26. So he makes $39,000 a year. Now remember, that's gross. That's how much he's earned. That isn't how much he brings home. So let's look and see what his deductions are like. So that's how much he made. These are the taxes that he pays. And he's bringing home a little more than $1,000. So he makes $1,500. He brings home around $1,000. A big difference between those two. And here's his paycheck. So payroll check number. It's written to Jose. $1,019.53 over $100, the signature of the company. So there's his paycheck. All right, so what is the length of the pay period? Okay, so you just look up here at the pay period, and it's a 2-week pay period. There are 52 weeks in a year. How many paychecks will Jose receive? Well, we talked about that right here. When you look at how often he gets paid, you just take 52 and divide it by that. If he got paid every 3 weeks, you take 52 divided by 3, and that would tell you how many paychecks he gets in a year. What is his annual salary? Oh, dang. We already figured it out there. So Jose is making his monthly budget, assuming he has no other income. What is the maximum amount he can spend during a month with 2 pay periods? The maximum amount he can spend with 2 pay periods would be the amount he makes the first pay period and the amount he makes the second. So you would add these two numbers up and find out which of these 4 options is the amount of money that he brings home, which means he shouldn't be spending more than he makes, although a lot of people do. Okay, so let's jump to the next page. This is page number 80, exercise 2, calculating take-home pay. So Emil, or Emile, I don't know, works as a foreman for a landscaping company. He's an hourly worker, so he makes a certain amount of money per hour and gets paid every week. So here's his pay stub. One says complete his pay stub. Well, his earnings are regular. He works 40 hours. He makes $15 an hour. They want you to put on here how much he earned. Okay. Here, these are the deductions for everything. And they want to know then what his net pay is based on these deductions. This Social Security, this insurance is part of Social Security insurance. So it's not a separate line where you have to figure out how much was taken out because you have no idea. So to find out his net pay, what does Emil need to do? And answer those. What is the total amount of deductions taken out of his paycheck? Well, it would be the sum of all these numbers. What is net pay? It would be that number that you put right there. His gross pay minus all of this would give you his net pay, and that's exercise 2. One of the things I do want to show you, though, talking about hourly rate, because a lot of people work hourly, and you want to figure out, okay, if I make $15 an hour, how much is that per year? All right, all you do is take that $15 and double it and put a K on it. And if you know what that K represents, it represents thousands. So you can either put a K or put 3 zeros. So if you make $15 an hour, you're making $30,000. If you make $60 an hour, double it and put 3 zeros. That's how much you make a year. Okay, if you made $45 an hour, double it, add 3 zeros. Okay, so it's real easy to figure out how much you make a year based on how much you make an hour. And that's if you get a 2-week vacation, because it would basically be $45 an hour times 40 hours a week times 50 weeks, because hopefully you get a 2-week vacation out of the 52 weeks in a year. Now, if you want to find out how much you make an hour, if somebody says, I'm going to pay you $120,000, you're like, I wonder how much that is an hour. All you do is take off the 3 zeros and take the 120 and divide it by 2. Cut it in half, and that'll tell you your 60,000. So if you have a paycheck, or if you get hired and they're paying you 100,000, take off the 3 zeros, cut that in half, and you're making $50 an hour. That's if you're working 50 hours a week. If you're working on the slope, or if you're a teacher and you work 9 months out of the year, this doesn't work. It only works if you're working 50 weeks during the year. So something that makes it really easy. So if your dad comes home and say, yeah, I got a raise, I'm making $160,000 a year right now. And you're like, I wonder how much that is an hour. I wonder if that's better than McDonald's. Well, cut that off, take half of 160, and he's making $80 an hour. Okay, so next video will be exercises 3 and 4, and then we will be done.